we're here this afternoon to talk to our guest speaker, Mr. Honorio Garza, about this iconic building that was built in about 1988. So let's get a little bit about the history of what used to be the Hill Country Ballroom, then it became the Golden Hill. And we have Mr. Honorio Garza to help us out with this. Mr. Garza, when was this building open?
The first event that was held here was back in November 25th of 1988.
You remember what it was? What kind of?
We had our grand opening, and performing was Jaime los Chamacos, and we had Johnny Canales as a master of ceremonies. And we were new in the business, new in the industry. I remember very well that we ran out of beer. We ran out of once because we started charging. We were charging $7 per person, which was unheard of. Everybody would, $15, $20. But it was a grand opening. We decided to charge $7. So we ran out of ones. So when we ran out of ones, was literally we just had to let the people go in for free. And it was super packed. It was a beautiful event, very memorable. That brings back a lot of very good memories.
Very good. I bet you this building has had a lot of different type of activities. Tell us about some of the different ones that you remember.
Well, as far as the regional Mexican side of the industry, I know basically about 90% of all the groups out there, starting like Ramon Ayala, Invasores de Nuevo León, Intocable. This was probably one of the first venues that Intocable performed at.
Before they became
real famous.
Yeah.
Yes. And as far as the international, crazy, and a lot of people don't believe this story, but Juan Gabriel performed in this building.
Wow.
And
that is something very special and to be proud of. To think that the great Juan Gabriel was here in La Grulla, in Alto Bonito.
Exactamente, and it was a beautiful, beautiful event. It was sold out completely, and we decided to do another international event within a 6-month span. So the building was basically too small, so we went outdoors. And I remember my uncle, may he rest in peace, Matilde Perez, built us a big stage, outdoor stage in the back, and we had Ana Gabriel perform.
Oh my goodness.
Opening the event was Grupo Mazz. And this was back in 1991.
Top-notch groups, all of
Yes,
those.
gracias a Dios, we had the privilege of bringing those artists to this venue. And again, it's, with great pride, with a lot of humbleness.
And rightfully so, let me tell you.
But gracias a Dios, we got to bring, the cream of the crop to this building. One of the biggest artists that came here in the Tejano industry, of course, La Mafia. La Mafia was a sellout every single time. I'll never forget one time we sold out of pre-sale tickets. We had 1,000 tickets out for pre-sale. We sold out of those pre-sale tickets, and long story short, we had a huge line, like all the way across this fence. This road was still not there. And when the people were in line to get in, La Mafia was doing sound check. So all of a sudden, we get a phone call that on this side of the fence, there was a huge, the bees, like a beehive that had come in and just stuck to the fence. So we had maybe 800 people in line. So we had to call, and it was on a Saturday, so nobody could come. So we finally got a guy that worked for the fire department in La Jolla, and he came and he, vacuumed every single one of them.
Wow.
And that was just one of many, Grupo Mazz, La Sombra de Tony Guerrero.
What about one of the favorites in this area? She's already passed away, but Selena.
We had the privilege to bring Selena the very first time she was here. I have another story because she still wasn't where she was before she died, at that level. So we only had like 20 people inside the building. And Mr. El Papa Abraham nos dice, where are y'all's vehicles? I said, well, we're parked, some are here, some on the side. He go, okay, everybody bring your vehicles and put them in the parking lot. I go, why? Just don't worry, all those people that are driving around are gonna think, oh, more people are coming in. Sure enough, we ended up having like 200 people, which is a very small crowd for Selena. Next time around, we decided to do Emilio Nevada with Selena, and we packed it up. Wow. By then, Selena was already huge here and in Monterrey.
I can imagine at that time, I mean, she was
huge.
Iconic. I mean,
yes.
Very, very much a big star in our culture and in our area.
And I had the privilege to meet her, and she was such a humble young lady. Yeah. Or she was probably about my age, because I started in the industry when I was 17. I started booking this venue, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, we are about the same age. But she was so down to earth. We had her in our office, and she made like all the, back then it was phone interviews. Like you couldn't do like today that you do video interviews.
Right.
It was just over the phone, venía el control remoto de la radio or something, but mostly it was phone interviews. So
let me ask you, what other kinds of events have occurred in this building?
We used to have, way back when there was no pay-per-view, we used to do the closed circuit boxings.
That's good.
That was one of the major attractions. We would put a couple of big screens, one in the middle of the hall and one in the very back, and then we would just put mesas, and it was it would get packed. Y eran puros hombres, so it was different than other type of events. We had churches come in and rent the building and do their services that they, like conventions that they would have for weekends. You know, weddings, quinceañeras, of course, and very memorable events.
Okay. I do remember that I know La Jolla brought a group of students to be tested here, because we didn't at that time we didn't have large places to test all the students, and I came with a group once to test the students here in this building. But that was, I think, a long time
We
ago.
had a lot of schools come in and do like their fundraisers. So what we would do, we would donate the hall to them. And one of them was a mariachi group from La Jolla. They had a tradition every year while we were owners of the building, they would bring in Fito Olivares, and it always would get packed for them. And they would do very, very well.
That's great. That's great. So, because we haven't had so many activities here, is there any, I know that you already mentioned all these big names you talked about, but one that you feel stands out of all the events, most memorable or something?
Most memorable, I want to say, you know, the night that I had my wedding in here.
Okay.
That was back in
special.
and December 18th, 1993. That was my wedding night.
Elsa Garcia?
Elsa Garcia played at my wedding, yes. By then, Elsa Garcia.
Okay. And you've all sold the place, and it used to be Golden Hill.
It was Hill Country
Hill
Ballroom,
Country, right.
and it turned into Golden Hill Ballroom when the Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Canales bought it.
Okay.
That was back in at the very beginning of 1994.
Okay.
That's when they started doing their events here.
And the building is now no longer in use?
Not that I know of. It's completely it's for sale, but not that as far as in use, it's not.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, it's a very special place. I called it iconic at the beginning because it brought in to our communities, to our area, some very special people. And I know that a lot of the people who came were not from La Grulla. I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. No, we
Especially when
had
you go at the big guys.
You know, we had people from all the way from San Benito and from Zapata. And what was so weird that when we had weddings and quinceañeras, we would get phone calls like, who's playing at the wedding? Even though they weren't invited, but there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So it was an era where, you know, people love dances. Now it's nightclubs, and now it's different. It's a different, you know, the new millennium.
Well, let me tell you, thank you very much for allowing us to ask you these questions. I know that you have made a big difference in the community as far as, you know, bringing in all these different groups and all these people from throughout the United States and the world. But so thank you for that, and thank you very much for allowing us to do this story about this very, very special place called...
No, thank you guys, because it brings back a lot of memories. Very sentimental place to me. I spent a lot of days and shed a lot of tears in here. But it was hard to let it go when we let it go, but gracias a Dios, we're still here.
That's it. Thank you very much. I think this is fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Garza. Honorio Garza the third, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
Junior,
sorry, for this interview here. Thank you.